Hi everyone, welcome to this St Nicholas Cluster Virtual Assembly. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Mr Armstrong and I am a PE teacher at St Nicholas Catholic High School. I'm also the PE and School Sport Coordinator for the St Nicholas Cluster. Now, usually at this time of the year, we would be bringing our friends from the world of sport into your primary schools and giving you the opportunity to ask them some questions about their career and their life in sport. But unfortunately, this year we cannot do that. But I am very, very pleased to have a very special guest with us today. Now, my guest today is a former world champion bobsleigh driver. She is a three-time Winter Olympian and has also been a coach to a very, very popular athlete, Miss Jessica Ennis-Hill. So my guest today, Nicola Minicello, thank you very much for joining us. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. So excited to be involved, and it would be amazing to meet everybody in person, but I'm really looking forward to working with St Nicholas Cluster in a virtual world.
Brilliant, thanks Nick. Now we've had loads of questions given to us from all students in our cluster primary schools. But before we get into those, could you just tell us a little bit about the sport of bobsleigh? Now, loads of our students have actually been researching you and the world of the sport, but can you just tell us a little bit about it yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Bobsleigh for me has been fantastic. It's been different, it's been strange, it's been weird, and I didn't actually know what bobsleigh was until I was 23, so I was quite late going into the sport. But from the moment that I got involved, I fell in love with all the different dynamics. So basically, it's a Winter Olympic sport, and I get to race a bullet-shaped go-kart down the side of a mountain around about 100 miles an hour, pulling around about 5.5 Gs, which is a little bit more than a jet fighter pilot. So it's been amazing. It's been different. It's kind of like a roller coaster, a speedy roller coaster without a seatbelt. There's definitely no ups and downs and no kind of feeling of that drop, which is something I don't like. It's been fantastic. I feel very fortunate to have competed at the Olympics in bobsleigh. I feel very fortunate to have become the only British woman to win a world championships, and it's really changed my life, because for me the most fantastic part about bobsleigh is not only I didn't know what it was when I was younger, but I wasn't actually very good at sports when I was younger. So it's really allowed me to change, develop, and grow in a way that I never thought was possible.
Right, that's really interesting. So what can you remember about sport in school, and what were your favourite sports kind of growing up?
Yeah, for me, school sport was so important, but it wasn't. It was never about becoming an international athlete. It was never about going to the Olympic Games. For me, it was just about building my confidence. I had a really hard time in school. I was a little bit different, didn't really fit in, and I was bullied for quite a long time. And I tried lots of different academic subjects and didn't really get on with them. Wasn't particularly clever at my numbers or my spelling or anything, and I went along and I spoke to my PE teacher, and it was purely because my PE teacher was lovely that she inspired me to come along and join the sports clubs. And to start with, I was the person in the corner who couldn't catch and couldn't throw and couldn't run, but working with her, she was fantastic, and she helped me develop my skills and helped me develop my confidence. And I loved PE and school sport. I was 16 before I did any sport outside of school. Up till that point, everything was in school. So be it my extracurricular clubs or be it my PE lessons, everything for me was about trying sports, working hard in sports, enjoying sports, developing new skills, developing my confidence. And it really gave me such a fantastic grounding to then try sport out of school when I got to 16. Everything that I've achieved through my sports career, I can definitely put back to that school sport, giving me that love of trying lots and lots of different things.
Oh, that's brilliant. Really good to hear. So Letitia from St Wilfrid's, she found out that you weren't actually a bobsleigh athlete straight away and you were a track and field athlete. So she asks, who or what inspired you to take up bobsleigh?
That's a great question. So basically, as I said in the last one, I was 16 before I did any sport out of school. But because I was going to be leaving school, I didn't want to stop doing sport. I enjoyed it. And so I went down and joined my local athletics club. And that for me was everything. And initially, it didn't particularly go to plan. Again, I finished last in the Sheffield Championships. It went on, and I got better and better. And by the time I was 19, I finally got to represent Great Britain. at that point, that was the first time that I thought, oh my goodness, wouldn't it be amazing to go to an Olympic Games? It would be fantastic. My ambition was just to keep enjoying sport, but I got that opportunity. I missed out on going to the Olympic Games in Sydney. I got injured just a few weeks before the trial, and literally, most random thing in the world, I was 23 and I got a phone call, and a guy said, hi, my name's Adam from the Great Britain bobsleigh team, and we wondered if you would like to have a go at bobsleigh. I didn't know what the sport was. I'd never watched it on TV. I've never really learned anything about the Winter Olympics, but it was just that phone call. And it was a kind of an early form of talent transfer. And they said, would you like to come along, have a go at bobsleigh, hold on to the bobsleigh, run as fast as you can and sit down, just transfer everything that you've learned in athletics. I thought, okay, I can do this. He said, if you come along, maybe you can make the Olympic team. And if not, then at least you've got to go to Canada, because we don't have bobsleigh tracks in this country. So I had to travel abroad. I got to go to Canada for 3 weeks, all expenses paid. And that really was how random my bobsleigh career started. And I went out there, and first day I didn't particularly like it, but the more I did it, the better I got. And eventually, a few weeks later, I was very fortunate to make my first Olympic team. And then I was hooked. That was it. There was no real inspiration or particular kind of pathway that I followed. I just got a phone call that said, did I want to do it?
Amazing, thank you. So Edward, who's in year 1 at St Mary's, he asks, once started, how did you become so good at your sport?
It's a great question, Edward. And for me, I became really good at my sport because I practiced. There were people in bobsleigh who were way more talented than me, who had better equipment than me, who had a better kind of grounding and a better opportunity. But the one thing for me that I learned from school sport is, if you want to get better at sport, you work hard at sport. So I really believe I trained harder than everybody else. I tried new things. I tried different things. And because I'm not naturally talented, I had to work really hard to be athletic and to be the best in the world. And it doesn't matter whether you want to get better at sport or art or music. It's all about hard work. The harder you work, the better you get. And that for me was my secret to success.
Fantastic. So you said before in your introduction, you're talking about the actual sport bobsleigh, and you're saying you're going about 100 miles an hour. But Daniel and Ben, who are both at St Wilfrid's, they want to know, they're obviously all about speed. So they want to know what's the fastest you've ever travelled, and how do you feel as you approach such a treacherous bend at high speed?
What an amazing question. Yeah, it's so the absolute record is just over 100 miles an hour. My fastest, to be fair, is about 97.2 miles an hour. And that was in a track in Whistler in Canada. And they decided when they received the Olympics that they were going to build the steepest track on the steepest mountain of anywhere and hardly put any curves in to slow you down. So they designed it as the fastest track in the world, and we absolutely went faster than anyone else in the world. And to be honest, all you're trying to do is you really hit those fast corners, is just concentrate and really hit your steering points. So at 100 miles an hour with literally turns and twists every few meters, you can't concentrate or really think about anything. It's just what can I try and focus my eyes on to try and hit those lines and try and make sure that I make it to the track in a fast time, but also hopefully on 4 runners.
So when you were training during your bobsleigh, what was it that kept you motivated to keep on wanting to go and get better and better and better?
That's a great question again, because so many times you'll try something and it doesn't quite go to plan and you think, oh, what do I do? For me, the biggest thing, or the thing that I'm most scared of probably in life, it's not spiders, it's not heights, it's actually that fear of thinking, oh, what if only, and it's be too late. If only I'd have tried one more time. If only I'd have given it one more shot. It's so easy when things go wrong to think, oh, that's it, I'm just going to give up. But I always wanted to make sure that when it got to my competition and when it got to that point where I was competing against somebody else and essentially being judged, that I knew I'd done everything within my power. Everything that I could control, I wanted to control. And then if you know that, then even if you win or if you lose, it's okay. As long as you've taken care of everything you can control and given it your absolute best, then that's the best thing you can do. And I was always that fear of thinking, what if, that kept me motivated.
That's really nice to hear that, because that's something that I always say as well when I'm teaching, is always you know, irrespective of the sport, always put in maximum effort and you'll get the rewards. So it's really nice to hear someone else saying exactly the same thing. So the year one class who are at St. Bede's, they were asking, when you were training, what did you like to eat? And do you eat a lot of veggies?
Oh, yes, I do love veggies. I have to be honest, I've got a really sweet tooth, so I liked to eat cakes, I like to eat biscuits. But again, I knew if I did that, if I made those choices, then it would not give me the healthiest body, and it wouldn't give me the best performance that I could. It's kind of like a sports car. If you've got the fastest sports car in the world, you probably wouldn't put vegetable oil into it. You have to fuel as if you want to be the best in the world. And everything, okay, can be in moderation. So you can have a little bit of cake or a little bit of biscuits, but you also have to have a lot of other things. So vegetables give you so many vitamins and minerals that help me as an athlete recover and help you as anybody grow. The protein, it helps you build muscles, it helps you develop your strength. You've got the carbohydrates, which give you the energy. So it's really about finding that balanced diet, but also trying to limit how much sugar you're putting into your body or how much artificial products you're putting into the body. If you want to get the best performance, you have to put the best fuel in.
Yeah, all about balance, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah, absolutely.
So St. Joseph's, the year 3 and 4 class there, they wanted to know who your current inspirations in sport.
Ooh, so many. I really like Serena Williams. I think she's changed the game for so many women in sport. It's so difficult. Usain Bolt, anybody who changes opportunities or goes beyond what is expected of them, that for me is a really big thing and such an admirable thing. I think it's very difficult to choose one role model or one person to admire, because I admire so many different traits from so many different people. I think David Beckham was a fantastic ambassador for sport. Is it Jack Grealish? I think I heard a lot about his background and kind of how he's grown up, and he's got some fantastic, admirable traits. It's really about what traits do I admire, what traits do I aspire to from each individual. And there's very few people that have everything. It's very hard to be kind of perfect one person, but as long as they keep working hard and change opportunities for other people, then I just think that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. So during the lockdown period, a lot of the students in our primary schools in the St. Nick's cluster, they were completing lots of daily challenges. So what kind of things were you up to in lockdown, and how have you tried to stay active during that time?
Yeah, that was a really great way to stay focused. I think I probably did a lot of the same. So looking at daily challenges, because it was even so, I feel very fortunate to have competed and had a long career as an international athlete. However, going into lockdown, I found it quite frustrating and quite scary to a certain extent, because you lose your kind of framework, your structure. And I'm very good because I like to know what I'm doing next and next and next. And then with lockdown, that all got taken away. So for me, it was kind of, after the first few weeks of getting my head around it, it was really about reframing it. So setting those small challenges or small targets each day to be able to work towards, and also thinking about, well, what can I get out of today? Because there were so many restrictions. There still are a lot of restrictions, but there were also opportunities. So I got the opportunity to spend more time with my family, make different memories that we wouldn't have been able to do. I got the opportunity to learn new skills. I got the opportunity to try new exercises and try doing things a little bit differently. And so it was about really switching my brain to say, instead of making it a big problem or a big issue, try and think of it as an opportunity to do something a little bit different.
Bro. So that actually links quite closely to a question from my own GCSE class, my year 10 class at St. Nicholas. And they said, now you finished competing, what sports or forms of physical activity do you like to do?
Great question. I just generally like to keep fit. I love playing team games. I think it's fantastic to be involved with other people when it's not necessarily as competitive. I like running. I like fitness training generally. I'm not a big fan of going out for long runs, although I am supposed to be doing a half marathon in September, so we'll see about that one. I just like doing different things, and then also I still want to learn to ski. That's still a big goal of mine. I spent a lot of years at the side of a ski runs and ski resorts, and I still have not quite managed that opportunity. But yeah, it's just trying lots and lots of different things. I think when I was an athlete, I spent so many years having a very strict training program, so very strict parameters, what I could do and what I couldn't do. And I think now my favorite thing is just trying lots of different things and having that flexibility to just do, maybe today I'll fancy doing this, maybe today I'll have a go at that. I love it.
So do you think that's like a message now for the young people that are watching, is to just give everything a go and just see what sport, what physical activity you enjoy the most and just go for it, but really just give absolutely everything you possibly can a go? Do you reckon that's a fair message?
I think that's an excellent message. I think my story, not finding my sport until I was 23 and not doing any sport out of school until I was 16, is really just evidence that the more sport you do, the more opportunity you're going to have within your sport. In fact, the more data and research now is showing that if you're going to be a professional footballer, or you're going to be a cricketer, rugby player, a bobsleigh athlete, you will be better in your sport if you have more of a grounding in multi-sports. You learn to be more agile, you learn to be more adaptable, more competitive. And I think the early specialization can be a little bit of a problem. It's, for me, trying every sport, stepping outside your comfort zone, giving things a go is really the fundamental basis of success, whether that be in one sport or whether that be changing sports. You don't know what you're going to be good at. Nobody does. That's the fantastic thing about life. But when you try things, eventually you find what you love.
Amazing stuff. Thanks so much for that. So that actually is coming towards the end of our St. Nicholas Cluster Assembly this morning. I've learned absolutely loads of things from speaking to you, Nicola. It's been really, really interesting just hearing from your career and your path through different sports, and how, you know, your message there about trying as many different things as possible, and one thing will eventually turn up that you are made for, really. It's been really, really nice speaking to you. Do you have any kind of final messages for any of the boys and girls listening today in our primaries?
Yeah, absolutely. I think sport has given me so many opportunities, but becoming a world champion taught me 3 really important things. And I'd love to leave these with you if that's okay. The first thing, if you've got a goal, if you've got something you want to achieve in life, you absolutely can do it. You can do amazing, crazy, fantastic things. You can achieve your dreams as long as you're prepared to work hard. If I can go from being not talented at sport to becoming a world champion, it just shows anything is possible, especially through sport. Hard work really does get you everywhere. The second thing that becoming a world champion taught me is that if something doesn't go right the first time, it's okay. I've crashed my bobsleigh so many more times than I won races. But I won races because when I crashed, I got back in. The guy that invented the light bulb, Thomas Edison, it took him 10,000 attempts. And he's quoted as saying, I never failed once. I just found 10,000 ways it doesn't work. As long as you learn from something going wrong, it's not a failure. The only time you fail is when you stop trying. And the third and most important thing that I've learned from becoming a world champion is that people will doubt you. People will put in place barriers and limits. Life will put in place barriers. You have to be that voice of positivity in your head that says the most important 4 words: I can do it. And as long as you're prepared to be that positive mindset and take ownership, really anything is absolutely possible.
Thanks very much, Nick. That was a wonderful message. And I hope, boys and girls that are listening at school right now, that you can take those messages on board and that you've enjoyed our assembly this morning. Nick, it was wonderful meeting you. Hopefully next time we come together, we'll be in person and we can go to the schools and speak to the boys and girls face to face next time.
Amazing. I really hope so too. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been a real pleasure talking to you, and yeah, hopefully see everyone in the St. Nicholas cluster very soon.
Thanks, Nick. Bye now, everybody. Bye-bye.